It's just a 7-minute drive northwest from the Houston field office, but it might as well be 7 hours. If the atmosphere in the FBI building at North Justice Drive is loud, busy, and frequently combative, the atmosphere in the forensics lab is altogether more low-pitched and quiet, like a public library in a town full of illiterates. Most of the geeks employed by the RCFL pay little attention to looking as smart as us feds do. What would be the point? The only people they ever speak to are field agents like me, demanding, the analysts would say, the impossible, and you don't need to be wearing a tie and a pair of shiny shoes to go messing around inside someone's Dell. Through a door beyond a desk that could have fronted any regional field station, things quickly turned very different from the usual FBI office. There's a room full of wide shelves on which rest a couple of dozen large removal crates, each of them containing a computer or hard drive that was bagged in pink plastic by the investigating LEO, just in case something falls off or out. And beyond this reception area is a long, brightly lit floor given over to very private-looking workstations that are more like monastery cells in a Radio Shack, each of them the almost hermetic province of some CART or RCFL geek whose job it is to mirror image a suspect computer and identify a file document or digital image that can be used as evidence in a court of law. The workstations are wraparound workbenches with high shelves on which stand a variety of operating PCs and Macs, while under these benches are boxes of wires, leads, and flash drives that are the spatulas, scalpels, and tweezers of this less gruesome but no less vital forensic work. In truth, magna brushing F-powder onto a non-absorbent surface in search of latent prints already looks like last year's episode of CSI. These days, our most commonly left fingerprints are digital ones, whether it's a cell phone signal in a Speedy Mart during a robbery, or a Facebook page with a picture of the perp holding a Mac 10, a newspaper with a story about the robbery and some stolen bills. I shit you not. Ken Paris was the prince of the geeks at RCFL. A bureau man for 30 years, he was KMA, kiss my ass, which basically meant that while he was coming up on retirement, we still needed him a lot more than he needed us. But Ken loved his work. Just the week before, he'd been in court giving evidence against a 23-year-old man, Reese Conroe Jr. from Galveston, who had been distributing thousands of images of young boys being sodomized by a variety of adults. On Ken's evidence, Conroe had been convicted and sentenced to 220 months in federal prison without parole. That was what made the job worthwhile for Ken, the idea that creeps like Conroe were out of circulation, and this was also why he was an advisor to Project Safe Childhood, a Department of Justice initiative launched back in 2006. Ken hated jackos and tot bangers the way most of us hated roaches, and he was already on the internet trail of some of the sick bastards Conroe had been supplying with images. Ken was from Little Rock, which is why he sounded so very like Bill Clinton. If you closed your eyes, it was almost as if the ex-president was alongside you in the room. Ken even looked a little like him, too. In his late 50s, he was tall, with a huge head, small blue eyes, an easy smile, a tsunami of silver-gray hair, and a nose like a shapely woman's ass on a bar stool. He'd always been interested in computers, and until the mid-1980s, he worked for Apple. Then, disappointed by sales of the Macintosh, he turned down the opportunity to buy shares in the company and join the FBI. "I've always been lucky that way," he would joke. I found him at his desk attaching pictures of startling obscenity to an FD 302, a field document that would eventually be produced in court as evidence. "Hey, Gil. What's cooking?" he asked. Closing the lid on the laptop he had been working on, he shook his head. "The Conroe case, Part 2. Seems we have some local elementary school teachers who were involved in this degenerate shit. As soon as a jury sees just one of these JPEGs, they'll convict. They always do. Just so they won't have to look at them anymore. Can you believe that? Fucking school teachers. In my days, you gave them an apple, not your cherry." "You're here about Peter Ekman's computer, aren't you?" he said. "Good writer. Nicely argumentative."